Hello and welcome to The Passion Show. My name is Phil and joining me as always is my co-host Kyle.
Why go on?
And this week we're joined by returning guest Jordan Melia.
Hello.
So in today's episode, we're talking about Jordan's film. It's called
No Rest for Us.
Okay, why don't you tell us a bit about your short film?
So it's a short World War II film set during Dunkirk in 1940. The kind of basis of the story is, behind a bit of history, is that 338,226 soldiers were evacuated from the beaches in France, but 40,000 were left behind. And history doesn't really focus on these people left behind.
It focuses kind of on the triumph.
Yeah, so it's like, because people say like Dunkirk spirit, you know, like they saved, it was like a victory, even though it's not really a victory because they had to like, ran away. But these 40,000 soldiers are the ones helping their friends onto the boats and keeping the enemy back. And then they were then captured by the Germans and then made the trek from France to Poland. And then they became prisoners of war over 5 years, and they were like eating daisies and stuff off the road. I mean, these are testimonies I've read from soldiers who were there. And they said the worst thing for them, it wasn't the torture or the humiliation by the Nazis, it was the fact that they were left there and like not acknowledged, and like kind of the British public kind of just accepted that as a big victory and they forgot about them. Yeah.
So is this kind of like a story that you kind of connected with when you were doing your research and stuff?
Yeah, so I mean, it's not directly about the prisoners of war side of it. It's kind of a jumping off point if I wanted to kind of tell a larger story. It's about it's 3 soldiers, but 1 dies at the start. I mean, spoilers, but it's the first thing you see. It's these 2 soldiers kind of coming to terms with like they can't get home now, being so close to home, and now their chance to leave is gone, and like them accepting this being alone. The 2 characters, Stanley and Dale. Dale's kind of like an alpha character who's kind of looked after Stanley all his life. He's kind of like the older brother kind of guy. And Stanley's a kind of weaker character. He's always followed Dale, and he's kind of followed him to war because he didn't know what else to do. He's kind of like a younger, kind of more childish character. But as the story goes on, Dale's mortally wounded, and Stanley has to like step up and become the man he needs to be to survive in this place on his own, in like a very dangerous place.
So that sounds cool. So you're doing this as a for your graduate film, aren't you? Your final piece for university.
Yes. This is my main film, like my big culmination of everything I've done so far. I'm producing and directing this one.
Wow.
Which is stressful.
Yeah.
But it's hopefully it's going to get shown in home cinema as well.
Oh really?
Which would be nice to kind of get everyone involved and stuff like that. I'm currently crowdfunding for it. We need
link in bio.
There will be a link.
Bio. Yeah, we're looking for 650. Realistically, 500's good. We've just passed 500 yesterday, which is great.
Brilliant.
So any money that we don't use, because I mean, it's still need to like the money's going towards costume, which is expensive, and the location we're filming in Anaside in the Lake District, which is like a beautiful little town in the middle of nowhere. But gets no recognition, but it's a really lovely place and really quiet. So we're filming there. The costume, we're working with the Royal Exchange. They're helping us out with that. And then like other money goes towards travel and food and stuff like that. But any money that we don't use, we're going to donate to Help for Heroes.
Oh,
brilliant. I don't want to pocket the money. It's in the topic of the film.
That's a nice sentiment. Like, especially with like what you were saying before about the story and, you know, like how you got like attached to it. You know, you sort of... Yeah. It's nice that you're doing that.
So yeah, I can confirm that you have been stressing over this. Like you are working your ass off.
You're in like stages of pre-production now. Oh yeah.
Well, we're 2 weeks away from shooting, so I've managed to get most of them. We did casting quite early. Like I cast theoretically in November. I had it down to 3 lads for the two leads. I chose, I think it was January because I needed the time to find it aside because it was a hard decision. But it turns out the 2 lads I picked are actually best mates in real life.
That works quite well.
Which I didn't realise till after. I mean, I knew they knew each other, but I didn't realise like they knew each other that well. So that's nice, and it kind of brings a nice dynamic to the 2 leads because they are meant to be friends. And
there's probably a lot of natural chemistry there. Yeah,
so we can use that. So in it, we did like an R&D unit, which is like a research and development.
Yeah,
and I was looking at improv, and using improv in the film. Because it's all well and good doing a script, and script's great, but I think if you can get the natural reactions and natural responses from the actors, it kind of brings them a bit of reality to it, especially at like a student level. I mean, if you pay for actors, you know, you'd expect that level of professional. But I mean, like using kind of improv's really good.
Yeah, giving them a chance to sort of really work, you know what I mean? Use their own skills.
Yeah, and the lads are great. We've got Ben Stitch and Sam Hills as Dale and Stanley. And they're great lads. We've been working with them now since, I say, November, and they're really involved in the script, and they're really excited to do this. I hope they are anyway.
So what films were like inspiration for this? Was it sort of stuff like Dunkirk in 1917?
So yeah, Dunkirk was a big inspiration for me originally. Because I kind of like how it feels like they're not the main characters don't feel like main characters, just feel like a soldier and a beach, and you follow the story, and I like that kind of more grounded take on it. I think
Dunkirk was much more a film about the event rather than particular like character and character arcs, which I think it does it well, you know what I mean? Like it just shows like a realistic person's experience or a few people's experience of that event.
When I first watched it, I really loved it, but I watched it recently and I don't know, I just didn't feel the same about it. I don't know why. I think
maybe it's the cinema.
It was a bit, I think it's because it's a cinema film, you know what I mean?
It's a Nolan film.
In terms of 1917, that really annoyed me.
I saw you get triggered when he said that.
So I've had this film idea for about 4 years. Alright, the story's changed a fair bit, but the general basis of the two characters, one dies or one's dying.
Spoilers.
I'm not going to spoil anything.
No, it's not spoiler. We're okay.
But 1917 was a fantastic film. I loved it. Twice I've seen it now on a big screen, and like I recommend it to everyone. All right, it didn't win Best Picture because Parasite was good.
But
I think it was a hard year for the Oscars because there was a lot of good.
It was
films
a lot of
this
competition.
year, and, like, for the first time, I'm actually excited to see who won. But 1917 was a gorgeous film. The one take things, people say it was a gimmick, but I don't think it was.
I think it works within the premises of the film.
It makes sense, and you kind of feel the same kind of feelings of the characters. But the issue was, it's very similar. I have changed my story a little bit, but the original script was very similar. Like, take a lot of elements, especially a certain scene. You could also literally lift off my script onto that. So, so I've had to change a bit. I mean, that's the worry that people say, oh yeah, it's like 1917. But I mean, I did do this before. That's
definitely. I was just going off war films in my head. You know what I mean?
I think war films are at the moment the new thing, and plus this year it's the 75th anniversary of Victory Day.
Oh well,
if that's right, I hope it is. And the 80th anniversary of Dunkirk. Which is quite good because I can use that to my advantage when I'm putting the film out. I can look at festivals and say, oh, this is kind of my response to what happened at Dunkirk and kind of the unseen things that we don't focus on, you know what I mean?
I do think the actual story you've got there about the people that are left behind is very unique, you know what I mean? And watching it through the eyes of that makes it like its own, very much its own entity rather than being, you know, you can imagine someone comparing it to 1917. But I think if your story's strong enough.
I mean,
that's the crux of it, isn't it?
My main thing is it's all set in one place, one location. I mean, as a producer, it's the best thing ever. I don't have to worry, but it's on a beach outdoors, which is a big stress. But I can kind of focus on the characters as opposed to what's happening around everyone.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Kind of thing. But it hopefully should go well. I'm stressing a bit about this and the other, but I'm also producing another film as well and helping out on another film. So there's another film I'm helping out on. I'm producing called How Much Blood Is in a Mouse.
Is that Kieran's?
That is Kieran's film, we're shooting that next week. That's kind of like a story of a mother looking after her son who's a bit not right in the head, shall we say. And a social worker coming around and trying to take him away, and it's her fighting for her son. It's kind of like a dark comedy with like dark elements and stuff in, but it's that should be good. That should be a good film. I'm helping out on another film called Lava with Ed Maiden. He's my writer, my assistant writer. The story's mine. He's kind of, because I'm the best writer. He's writing for No Rest for Us. I'm helping out with locations and actors and casting for him at the moment, so that should be a really good film. That's like a horror film, like a grotesque, gruesome horror film. He's also crowdfunding, so stick that one.
Keep an eye out. So why don't you tell us about like a few of the, like, because you said you've been like quite stressed, why didn't you run us through like a few of the problems you've came across with like pre-production and stuff like that, and what you'd do next time differently, you know what I mean? So the beach location was an issue at first because I was looking at Formby Beach. Now I grew up near Formby Beach, so I know it quite well, and I love Formby Beach. Windy.
It is windy, and like, all right, the weather's going to be an issue either way. The beach itself's a massive threat, like equipment and stuff like that. You get sand in the lens and things that can break stuff, and you're exposed to all the elements pretty much out there. Especially in March, we're filming in March, it's going to be really cold. But I was quite set on Formby Beach until I went down to do some promotional stuff, which is in the poster from the in the crowdfunding. From Formby Beach, we took a helmet down, but it was a really miserable day, and there's about 30 odd people still walking down the beach. And this is like further away from the car park, and like that's a major issue because I have to shut down set every 5 minutes for people walking past, and then power's a massive issue because the cameras we're using last an hour tops, if that, before they need to be recharged, and there's no nearby power sources. I'd have to get an Airbnb further down. You're looking at about £500 just for like 2 nights in an Airbnb. Whereas the other location on the side, I worked on. There's another film I was producing, which has been cancelled now. But I've used that location because when I was there, I had to kind of look around the set, and then there's a house on the beach. Basically, it's a 30-second walk, and my assistant AC, Holly, her nan and granddad owns the house.
Oh wow!
So we can use that as a base location. And then we can like power things and send them to the beach and
that's
run
so
this
cool.
back and forth. We can have makeup and hair, hair and costume, so they don't have to stay outside.
That's amazing. That's so convenient.
And we can have radios and call them back and stuff. And we have tea and coffee set up, and then we have another Airbnb 7 minutes down the road, which is like a massive Airbnb where we can put the secondary crew in. So they can all stay there, and then like the main can stay in base, and then we can kind of.
That's so interesting. It's about it's like about who you know, isn't it? You know, what I mean? Just so happens that
in my head, if it works, it sounds good. But
I think it sounds great. I think it sounds really interesting.
I mean, other issues are like I was worried about cast at first, but like I've got to give props to Macaulay.
Macaulay, yeah. He's wanted to come on the podcast as well.
Yeah, he's great. He's great. He's like I'll give him an executive producer credit. Well, so he knows until he hears this. He's helped me out a lot. He set up I did from the R&D unit. I had a theatre booked out, and we did the improv in the theatre, and we used elements of the costumes for everyone who came along. So it was kind of like a little mini shoot for them,
like a run through kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it was for me as well because I haven't directed in about 4 years. So it's kind of nice to see me because I've always produced films.
Yeah,
and then coming in from like being at the front of everything was a bit different. But I mean, I was worried at first, but I think it went quite well. I am concerned on set trying to not produce too much because I think because that's my strength, producing, I need to kind of focus on the creativity side of it.
What's sort of like that difference between producing and directing on set? Like, you know what I mean?
Producer's kind of like the logistics side of everything. I think anyway. I mean, in the industry, producer is in charge of everything. The set and stuff is the producers. At my level, I do casting, locations, foods, crew, travel, all the elements to get everyone there and get it going. The director's kind of like making sure the story's going. You know what I mean? The direct kind of manages the actual creative side, is the story element, so all that kind of stuff.
So you're trying to find that balance of like the two of looking at things logistically, but
also...
that's
the thing. I need to shut down my logistics side. We've really going to go because I do have a co-producer who's going to take over that part and an AD who will do all that side for me. So as long as I need to de-stress about that.
Mm-hmm. How big is the crew you're working with?
I think it's 16 at the moment, which is the biggest I've used.
That's quite a lot.
But again, it's nice to work with a big crew because then I don't have to work. I've got backups for everyone and things like that.
Yeah.
It's just consider getting everyone on the beach, 16 people out on the beach and keeping them warm and fed for 3 days,
So what are you going to do with it once it's filmed? Like, obviously you're going to submit it.
Yeah, so once it's submitted, it gets put to a panel and it might be shown in home cinema for a special screening night, and I think it's the 8th of June. It'll also be on the degree show in our university, MMU. There's loads of other films there, so it's like this. It's kind of a big event and you can come down for them. Past that, I mean, I'd like to submit it to festivals. You do have to pay to submit, and it's like not a guarantee that you get in. But the last couple of films I've done prior, we've had like a couple of issues with, so we've never really been able to submit them to anything.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to have something I can take away that feels like it's mine. Because producing's good, but the problem is if you produce well, the director gets the credit. If producing goes bad, you get the blame.
Yeah.
So you never feel like it's, as much as you put a lot of work in, it's never feels like your film. As much it doesn't seem like your film, in my opinion anyway.
I know what you mean. Is this like a half an hour film as well? Is it a long one?
No, it's only 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a limit. I would like to, I mean, if I can, use it as a jumping off point.
Yeah.
I like to follow Stanley's story, so I can focus on him getting captured and taken to Poland. I mean, this is pipe dream kind of thing. But I mean, if I got the budget, if I can,
as like a passion project.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to extend it, and then I mean, I probably wouldn't recast it, like to use the same actors. I mean, because I mean, if you look at like Whiplash, the big scene in Whiplash where he throws the chair was just a short. If you look on YouTube, and they apart from J.K. Simmons, they had different actors, and he used that to fund a bigger film, and he used the exact same scene, but with
Miles Teller.
Yeah, Miles Teller.
I fucking love Whiplash.
It's a great film.
Brilliant director.
Do you think La La Land's better than Whiplash?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like La La Land, don't get me wrong, but
La La Land is perfect.
Whiplash is better than La La Land.
I like Whiplash.
This podcast's just about La La Land. Like 50% of it's about La La Land.
What's he done recently? Has he done anything recently?
He did First Man.
Yeah. I haven't seen that.
I didn't watch that.
I didn't watch it.
What advice would you give to anyone who's looking to do what you do and be a filmmaker or producer?
In terms of producer, just make sure you're organised. I mean, I'm not an organised person, to be honest, but you just got to think about every little thing. So, like, say if you look at a location, say if you wanted to film in a house, Airbnb is probably the best place to look. Realistically, you've got to ask permission and stuff like that, and you've got to look at budget and stuff because it is expensive. Unless you want to film a student house, who you know is good.
Yeah,
so if you know someone at a house, you kind of got to work in your limits as a student. You got to work in what the limits of what you know and what you like. So I'd always say look out for locations. And when you're out and about, just look at places and think, oh, that could be good for that. And then you kind of have a back catalogue of places you can use, or you can kind of manipulate to be what you want. And then when you look at the location, look at what's nearby, power outlets. Is it logistically a good idea? Cause I had a guy who wants to film up a mountain. I was like, oh, that's good, yeah. He's like, oh, it's a beautiful mountain. Show me pictures. Oh, yeah, that's great, yeah. How are the actors getting there? Oh, we're going to walk up. How long does it take? It's a 2-hour walk up, yeah. Okay. So I say, right, 2 hours up, yeah.
With camera equipment.
Yeah, with all the equipment. I say, yeah, fair enough, right. We get everyone up there, yeah, right. Male and female, yeah. Actors, yeah, cool. You get up there, I need to poo. That's 2 hours down a mountain and 2 hours back up again for one poo.
Shit on the floor, like on the grass.
And he was like, oh yeah. I was like, and say if someone needs to pee, he was like, oh, you can just pee on, around. I was like, yeah, but you're gonna get with you. I mean, asking, someone to just piss on the floor on a mountain. You know what I mean? It's a bit, you can't ask.
There's no plug sockets on a mountain.
Could be electric fence. You could electrocute yourself with free piss line. Piss stream.
I don't know where they're going from.
No, there could be a fence around some sheep. I don't know. We're going on a bit of a tangent there.
So yeah, I'll just say, if anything, just make sure you're organised and make sure you look at the location. Is it logistically a good idea? Actors, make sure they don't just do auditions, or don't just pick people from a picture. Do auditions, do like tests with people. That's something I've learned this year, to like kind of do chemistry tests. That's really good.
I think acting can be quite a pivotal part in a student film, because obviously they're not fully trained actors, so there's a lot of sometimes you might not get the best performances and stuff.
There's a lot of give and take. Like they've got to understand your students, but you've got to understand that they're just starting off, so you can't expect like a expert
Oscar-worthy
performance. You know what I mean? Yeah. As long as you just make sure that the people that you audition aren't always the same people that come on the day. You know what I mean? Because the people audition, they're great, and they come on the day and like, oh my god, what was that? That wasn't in the audition. You know what I mean? So that's why the chemistry test's quite good. Like a little day just to get people together and stuff like that. And then just making sure you look after everyone, the crew and stuff, making sure that everyone's in good spirits, because if everyone's depressed and hates it, you're not going to get the project that you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's also like who you know as well, like in terms of what people can provide you with. Like you were saying about was it your assistant director whose grandparents own that house or something like that? And it's just like, even in terms of like creativity, like what people do you know that can work on certain aspects, you know what I mean, without outsourcing.
Yeah, you've got to problem solve, especially on the fly, because things can happen on the day that just fucks everything up. Like I've had total equipment failure on a day.
I've been there.
Yeah, I've had to rush across Liverpool trying to get new equipment and back in with actors, and then there's been loads of issues. I mean, one of my big films was on the day of the Manchester bombing. And that night I was setting up the equipment, and I had a big shoot that day, the day after. And my sister was at the attack, and I stayed up all night and sat with her.
Wow.
And I had to do the shoot the next day. And one of my actors' girlfriend was there as well. And I said, we'll shut the set down for you. You go home. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
This isn't as big as, you know what I mean? You got to understand, like,
That's very respectable, though. That's good.
Yeah, it's you know what I mean. It's a film. To film. This is more important. You know what I mean. But it's just on the fly, sorting things like that out. You got to understand what's more important.
Got to be able to improvise.
Because a lot of people do dangerous things. Like, oh, we'll just do it on a day. Like, but you got to it's a film. You're not gonna fucking do anything like that for it. You know. What I mean?
Yeah.
Dare I say, putting 16 people on the beach in the freezing cold for 3 days. Like, but you know, I'll be sat in the base in the house with a TV on, or a radio. Like, oh yeah, do that again. Go on.
Your cup of tea.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there anything else you want to talk about to do with the film? Any sort of logistic stuff, or like?
No, not really. We've got like 2 months of editing, which would be good. So that'll be. Mm-hmm. I like the editing side.
Yeah,
it's good.
Chill, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice because there's nothing else you can do. Then that's what you've got. You're working with. You put it together. It's nice. I think every time you get that, it's weird when you move something a second. Yeah, it just fits and it just feels nice, and you get this weird little sensation. Yeah. It's nice.
Except when there's a fucking beach ball every time you move the mouse and you're stuck in the library for 30 hours over 3 days. That happened to me at first year, and it was hell.
Well, don't do it in the library. Get an edit suite out.
Yeah. Don't use iMovie as well.
Oh God, no! Don't use iMovie. I use Premiere.
Bad memories. Traumatized.
Well, I like Premiere, so they started charging me all kinds. I have to cancel it. Like, but you know. Yeah, that's the only main thing. I say we've got crowdfunders out, so if anyone can donate, it'd be great.
There'll be links in the description for like everything to do with that.
Even if you can't, just to give a little share, it'd be great. Just get it out to as many people as possible. It'd be great.
I know we'll share it and stuff as well.
Are you excited? Are you excited to start shooting? Are you excited for it to come out?
I am. I'm nervous and I'm excited at the same time. I think once I'm there in the day and everything's ready to go, I think that's when I'll be excited. It's just leading up to it, you know.
Very
I think
nervous.
it's the big, because for a project like this, I think for a lot of other university courses, you know what you're doing. It's all on you. Whereas my whole grade's not on me; it's on everyone else around me, not just me and the actors, and everyone's involved. And because I've had it before, when actors drop out, that's it. You're stuck there. Yeah, there's nothing else you can do.
I think it's important though to recognise that everyone's playing their own role and they all want the best for the film. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so you got to maintain that. I think as a producer as well, you got to maintain. Everyone wants the same thing. Everyone wants to, because if I say people are enjoying it, then you're not going to get what you want out of it.
No one's going into it with the intent of it failing. You know what I mean? Everyone's hoping for the best for it, and I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it, man.
Wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, definitely. Best of luck with filming. But I think on that note, we'll wrap it up there. So thanks as always to Kyle for being my co-host.
Thank you, Phil.
Thanks to Jordan for coming on and talking about his film. As we said, crowdfunding links will be in the description if you want to check it out. If you have any passions yourself as well that you want us to talk about, you can leave them in the comments and we'll have a little chat.
Or hit us up in the DMs if you want to show your passion on the Passion Show.
Making that a thing. Making that a thing. But yeah, other than that, we'll catch you next time.
Does it catch you outside then?
How about that?
There you go, that's the end.